This past week's matchup versus the Baltimore Ravens was being billed as one of the top games of the year and a potential Super Bowl preview. In the pouring rain, the game delivered one of the closest games of the year, with Baltimore edging out San Francisco on a last-second field goal. The game turned out pretty much the way it looked to beforehand. These were the two best rushing teams in the league and also two of the top 5 defenses. Points were hard to come by, and each team had nearly identical run totals. While these teams featured a lot of similarities, they are built very differently from each other, and it was most notable in the quarterbacks. These were two very different, very talented young guys competing in one of the biggest games of the year, and each player made great plays to put their team in a position to win. In the end, the game was decided by special teams, as Baltimore was able to block a field goal attempt to close the second half, and they also had Justin Tucker nail another game-winning field goal for them. In the end, the game came down to just a handful of plays that decided things. I felt like Baltimore was able to capitalize on many of their opportunities in the game, whereas the 49ers missed several key opportunities themselves. Give credit to the Ravens for coming out with a good game plan for the conditions and being able to slow down the second highest scoring offense in the league. Also give credit to the 49ers, who were able to hold the Ravens until there was no time left in the game to half their season average on points, and even the final total of 20 points was their lowest total in any game this season. While it was a painful loss for the faithful, the 49ers are still 10-2 and control their own destiny going forward. Also, while looking over the losses is never a great deal of fun, it does help us understand what our team can improve upon and give us encouragement for future games. Well, alright, let's jump to the film. The first play I'm going to cover is the failed 4th down conversion that ended up being our last possession in the game. Kyle Shanahan has taken a lot of heat for calling a pass play here and not a run. He said in his press conference that he liked the decision to put the ball in the air, but wished he'd called a better play, and I agree with him on all counts. From pre-snap, you can see why throwing the ball was the right decision. Baltimore was playing very aggressively to the line of scrimmage most of the game, and here you can see they have stacked the box as much as you can with all 11 defenders in the box. So I like the decision to throw the ball. I don't like the play call, and neither did Kyle. He also said Kittle was the primary on the play and who they wanted to get the ball to. He's just going to run a hook over the middle. The Ravens are going to be in man coverage, with the linebackers playing back out on their side. Meaning, if the running back releases up the middle, the inside linebackers will pick them up, and the outside guys will blitz. If the running backs flare out in a passing route, the outside linebackers will pick them up, and the inside guys will blitz. Earl Thomas is going to be on Kittle. To the bottom, we're going to run a stick concept with Mostert and Deebo Samuel. Jimmy said it was tight coverage, and it was. From the end zone view, we'll see that Jimmy was trying to throw away from Thomas, which might have been a completion given Kittle's leverage. Impossible to say it would be a completion or could draw pass interference, again, because of the leverage, but Kittle was open for a split second, but the ball is batted down at the line of scrimmage. I would have liked to see something off of a run action here or something attacking outside. Baltimore looked to try and take away the middle of the field, and with linemen expecting short throws on a passing play, they would look to get their hands up. In the end, you can't go back and change the outcome, but hopefully it is a learning experience for everyone involved going forward. Well, with that, we'll back up and look at one of the key plays on the opening drive of the game where San Francisco went in to score. Baltimore came in as one of the heaviest blitzing teams in the league, and this game featured a ton of blitzing. I believe Baltimore blitzed north of 80% on pass plays in this game. They were going to force the issue all game. Make the quarterback make quick throws with a wet football. Here, they're going to be playing man coverage with a deep safety over the top of the 2 receiver side and bring Marlon Humphrey off the edge on a blitz. I really like the play design here. We're going to run interference on Bourne's man. It's a variation on a drive concept. A drive normally consists of a shallow crossing route from the outside receiver and an in route at 8 to 10 yards from the inside receiver. By releasing inside and underneath Samuel, it forces his man to run over the top of Samuel. And by giving the drive look, Peters takes an angle to attack a shallow crossing route. But Bourne will break his route off and then work back outside. Jimmy did a good job of not giving the play away by looking off to his left early on. Coleman did a nice job of picking up the blitz, But with a wet field, the O-line had a hard time holding their ground, and Jimmy is forced off his spot. Moving to his left and throwing a wet ball, the football took a nosedive on the throw. Bourne was still able to make a good catch, though, break a tackle, and pick up 30 yards to set up the first score of the game. Next, we'll talk about how the 49ers defense stopped Baltimore on their first drive. The drive really ended when the Ravens tried to pass the ball on 3 straight plays. They had a drop on a short throw to the flat that was pretty well covered, and then this play. Here, we're going to come out in Tampa 2 coverage. That's a form of cover 2, but the difference is that you get much wider safeties, and the Mike will match the deepest route down the middle of the field. The Ravens are going to run their own drive concept and add in a post route to clear out the deep middle safety in anticipation of cover 3. They then run an Ohio concept to the bottom. This is an example of a full field read. If the quarterback should see cover 2, he works the Ohio, as that's a cover 2 beater meant to put the cloud defender in a vertical stretch. The drive works well against cover 3 by putting the will linebacker in a vertical stretch or the Mike in cover 4. Tampa works well against the Ohio concepts as the wider safety closes the gap to the sideline and helps keep the cloud defender from being vertically stretched. Here, they still have a vertical stretch on the Tampa defender, though. With the post route clearing out the Mike, Jackson will have a high-low read down the middle of the field. As he drops back, you see Fred Warner matches the post well. The in route is going to come open, but Jackson likes the matchup of a wide receiver on Fred Warner and decides to throw the post. Warner shows why he's one of the best coverage linebackers in the game here by undercutting the route and breaking up the pass. While it's a great play by Warner, it also shows that Jackson still has some areas of growth in his pocket passing, which isn't surprising considering that he's just in his second year. So I don't want this to come across as a big critique of Jackson or that he's just not a good enough player. This just shows that he still has room to grow as a pocket passer, which all young quarterbacks do. So on 3rd and 10, the Ravens are again going to drop back and pass. This time they come out with 3 receivers to the top and are going to run a dagger concept with a deep over route clearing out the middle. The way we normally run our cover 3, we like to match those deep over routes with the will linebacker. As Jackson drops back, I'm not sure where his eyes are on this play. I think he sees Sherman not bail and is going to think he'll have the deep over route. You can see he stares that route down because as he sits in his drop, Ward opens up his hips to that route, and Sherman is also in full bail. I'd like to see Jackson work the dagger concept on that play. That works well against cover 3. We used to run this under Greg Roman a lot back with Colin Kaepernick, and Kaepernick hit the in route most times. That's the primary on this play. In fact, I still remember Kaepernick hitting Crabtree on this exact same play against the Carolina Panthers in the playoffs in 2013, I believe. Same formation, same play. When Jackson is in his windup, you can see that we have the receiver bracketed, and fitting this ball in will be an incredibly tight window. You also see that just after he throws it, the in route off the dagger is breaking open. He had a really clean pocket, but just missed his read. In the end, the window is too small and the pass falls incomplete. With the chance to further their lead and change the landscape of the game, the 49ers are going to come out and turn the ball over. Here, keeping with their blitz-heavy scheme, the Ravens are going to design pressure. They're in a combo coverage here with the 2 receiver side playing man and the 3 receiver side playing zone. This isn't your standard Mabel cover 3. That's a 7-man coverage with a 4-man rush. This is the blitz version of that. The top will be in man coverage. The flat defender on that side will be responsible for picking up the running back out of the backfield to his side and convert to man coverage if he does. If not, he'll play curl flat. Thomas is going to be playing a really shallow deep middle here, looking to match any intermediate routes over the middle. Baltimore is basically gambling that we won't have enough time to go deep on this play. From the end zone, they're going to come with a stunt on the play. They'll first blitz the outside linebacker to attack the outside shoulder of the running back. Then the 4 technique will attack the inside shoulder of the tackle. Number 99 comes down to the strong side A-gap, and the 0 technique will look to attack into that A-gap. By doing this, it will pull the center and guard to that side. All of this is to create a pass rush lane between the tackle and the running back, where number 99 will loop around on his stunt. As Jimmy drops back, you'll see how the lane is created. The real problem is going to be Mike Person. McGlinchey peels off his block in time to pick up the stunt, but Person never handed off the zero technique. Now you have the defensive end coming right at Jimmy. While Jeff Wilson picked up the blitz initially, he's got to do a better job of getting his guy on the ground. If you're going to go low like this, you've got to cut that guy's legs out from under him. Jimmy avoids the first guy, but it's Wilson's man who gets to him and forces the fumble. Jimmy absolutely has to hold on to the ball in this situation, but we also can't act like he's the only one at fault on this play. If we go back to the all-22, you'll see we had Bourne open on the play. We just need a clean pocket long enough for Jimmy to get a pass off for what would have been a first down. Instead, it's a game-changing turnover. One thing that is absolutely important when you play a team like this is that you can't let your eyes wander into the backfield at the snap. As a linebacker, you first have to read your linemen. Linebackers are taught to read the lineman through to the backfield. Linemen tell you a lot early in the play. Even in high school, we were taught to read the linemen as linebackers. Your first read is simple. High hats mean pass. That means if the lineman stands up with a higher head, they're in pass protection, and it's a pass. If they fire out low, they're run blocking, and it's a run. Then you read the guards through the backfield usually. On Baltimore's first touchdown, Fred Warner just doesn't stay disciplined in reading the lineman first. Baltimore does sell this by pulling a guard to come across. However, that's something that every team does to help sell power plays in play action. He needs to see the center and the guard on the other side aren't down blocking. They have high hats. We're just going to be in cover 3 zone, and Baltimore is going to run a deep over route off play action, attacking Fred Warner's zone. Notice how every other defender is playing pass. They're all read the linemen: Greenlaw, Tart, Sherman, and Ward. Yet Warner is still flowing, trying to figure out if it's run or pass. He's late in his recognition, and it allows the tight end to come open for Baltimore's first score of the game. After the play, you can see Warner realize it was his bad. So on Baltimore's next drive, Jackson is going to get nearly half his rushing yards on the day. Even then, we had them in 3rd and short and force an incompletion and most likely a field goal try. But we have a roughing the passer penalty called. I'm not going to blame the refs. This was a play that you have to be smart on. I know Al-Shazir is a rookie, but you can't make this kind of error and cost your team. This extended the drive, and Baltimore went in to score a touchdown to take a 14-7 lead. In a game this close, those 4 points are a huge difference maker. So then, the 49ers come out and answer with a score of their own in the run game. After a really nice 3rd down conversion by Jimmy G, where he threw it right on the money with a guy grabbing his foot, we're going to see Mostert break out for 40 yards. Here, we're going to just run our outside zone. We'll make it look like our counter we do off this, but it's meant to go play side the whole way. If you've missed any of my breakdowns on our outside zone, I'll go through this one. On these plays, the running back gets one cut, but the ball can go in a number of different lanes. It's up to the running back to make the correct reads off the blocks in front of them. That's why when teams run this zone blocking really well, it can be extremely hard to stop, but also takes a great deal of time and continuity to get going well. The first aim is to seal off the edge and get outside. So Kittle and McGlinchey are first going to double the M-loss, and Kittle will look to seal off. However, if he can't, being the end guy, if the guy wins to the outside, his job is to take his man and drive him towards the sideline. That way there will be a lane to one side or the other. McGlinchey then, after helping on the M-loss, will peel off and pick up the first linebacker to his side. Person has to cross the face of the 3 technique and seal him off on what's called a reach or scoop block. Richburg will first help on the 1 technique and then look to seal off the backside linebacker, while Tomlinson will scoop a reach block, the 1 technique. Brunskill then is going to reach block the 5 technique on the backside. Most of the time, Juszczyk will lead up in the hole and pick up the safety or linebacker to that side. On this play, to sell a counter, he's going to cut back across the formation and pick up the M-loss. It's just window dressing. At the snap, you can see how the O-line is all moving together and guys are executing their reach blocks. As Mostert gets the ball, he makes his first read. If the Mike over pursues, he's going to cut this ball up into the A gap. The Mike stayed in his gap, so he's going to look to press the off-tackle run. With the Mike shooting his A gap, McGlinchey peels off and picks him up. Kittle does a great job here of securing his man. When he doesn't get him sealed off, he flips his hips and drives his guy to the sideline. Person got just enough of his guy to allow Mostert to hit the lane, and then Richie James is going to come in and get a great crack block on the safety. This puts Mostert 1-versus-1 with Marcus Peters. Ravens fans are probably going to hate me for saying this, but I find it a little funny that Peters got traded after a horrible tackling effort against Kittle when we played the Rams, and then he can't make a tackle against one of our guys here. It's a nice move by Mostert. Now in the open field, Mostert has one guy to beat, Earl Thomas, and he scores the longest touchdown on the day. Then, in the most crucial down of the game, 4th and inches, we fail on some basic stuff. Here, the Ravens come out with 2 tight ends and they have a tackle over formation. If you saw my pregame video, I talked about this tackle over and how we had to recognize it when they use it. Because we fail to recognize the front, we end up with 2 defensive linemen and a linebacker to the side of the ball with a guard and 2 tight ends. And the other side, 2 defensive linemen and a linebacker against 1 guard and 2 tackles. Not only that, we fail to recognize the strength of the formation. Baltimore has 2 receivers outside that tackle to the right to keep the formation legal. That means they have 5 players to the right of the center and only 3 players to the left. The right is the strong side of the formation. But since teams are so used to identifying the strength of the formation by tight ends, we've misdiagnosed the strength of the formation. So you have Dre Greenlaw, the strong side linebacker, to the left side outside the formation, whereas on the other side, Armstead is outside contain. This means that the tackle Armstead is over can crash down untouched, and they can double team Sheldon Day, who's running a 4-eye technique instead of a 3, and run a sneak behind that, which is exactly what they do. If we get the formation correct, Day and Armstead would slide inside and would have had a much better chance to plug this sneak. Again, I can't say for certain that we would have stopped this play, but we would have stood a lot better chance than the 0% chance we had at the snap. In the end, the game really did come down to just a few plays, and the game really could have gone either way. I truly believe these are the 2 best teams in football, and it will be interesting to see what kind of noise both teams make in the playoffs. In my opinion, if these 2 teams were to meet 100 times, they might split the games 50-50. No team has a distinct advantage over the other, and both teams have great defenses and players playing at a high level on both sides of the ball. Questions remain for both teams going down the home stretch of the season. Can the Ravens and this Wildcat offense perform throughout the playoffs, and can Lamar Jackson stay healthy running all the time? Can the 49ers and their balanced attack stay balanced and be able to throw the football against some of the better defenses in the league? I hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for another preview episode soon, looking at the upcoming game between the 49ers and the Saints in New Orleans. If you'd like to support the channel in any way, I'll include some links to that below. If you like the video, you can like and subscribe, and as always, I'll try as best as I can to interact in the comments section on Reddit or at 49erswebzone.com in the Coach's Film Analysis thread in the forum section. Thanks for tuning in, and go Niners!